So as I look at how the world is changing on the manufacturing side, there's one company that, in my eyes, has been doing this for many, many years, has been focusing on service in connection with products and technology, and focused on delivering outcomes to their customers, and just doing it in a spectacular way for decades now. And they're a tremendous customer and partner of ours. And at this point, I'd like to welcome Vince Campisi, the CIO of GE Software, to come and join me on stage. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for getting over here.
No, it's always great to be here because we all speak the same language.
Yes,
These are my favorite things to come to.
So this whole outcomes model, how's that been for your customers? Has it been a change for them? How's the experience been, and what's the reaction been?
And maybe I'll just give a little context on how we see services, which I think is in alignment with what I've heard just by sitting here through the last couple of discussions. But for us, at the end of the day, a product is, for example, a gas turbine, which is going to have a life expectancy of 20 to 30 years of operation. So generally, when we're selling a product, it's really the services stream that's the big component of it, the next 20 years of service that we're going to provide. And by virtue of that, we've been, to some degree, in the outcomes business. It's been promising the efficiency of the gas turbine, the availability of it, but it's generally been very focused on that specific asset and our ability to make promises around the outcomes of that asset. With this whole connected service experience and how this all fits together, it's really about how we can extend that more broadly and operationalize and optimize the balance of the plant. So beyond just the turbine, but all of the assets that need to work together. In order to do that, we have our own point of view. Platform, is an important part of this. And so by the way we've been doing it is through our own point of view around an industrial Internet of Things platform, which we call Predix. And that's something that we've been working closely and trying to tap into the capabilities of ServiceMax on how you bring those things together to deliver the outcomes that we make and the promises we make for our customers.
So IoT's been a core component of that for you? Or?
Absolutely.
And how long? And what are some of the issues you've seen in kind of moving forward with that as core to your strategy?
I think it's really just getting people's mindset out of the fact that we're not just focused on the GE product anymore, and that now it's really about how do I focus on the key performance indicators for a customer, and how do I focus on the things that they care, the yield that they produce.
Right.
The example I like to give is, you take a locomotive. So we make a locomotive, you have the same characteristics of how you're trying to operationalize and maximize the efficiency of the locomotive, but we're now in a position where we can have a conversation with the customer to say, how would you like to get more yield? And yield for them is velocity. How do I get more freight moving over my rail network at a faster rate? How do I help you get more yield without having to make capital investment to expand your rail network? If I can optimize the efficiency on how you move that freight across and get you 1 extra mile per hour, that's a $200 million a year saving for you, Mr. Customer. Cool. And so that's the context of how we see IoT coming together with our services strategy.
Okay, so core to our focus is the technician.
Yep.
Right? And you have many thousands of technicians supporting lots of big iron.
We have a guy who looks just like Jack. It's getting a little, we literally have a chart that has a guy just like Jack with a GE logo on his shirt. So either Jack's moonlighting and doing other things, or he's a paid actor.
So how is this all changing your technicians' lives, their world?
Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite part, and probably yours too. This all doesn't take effect if you don't take the power of brilliant machines and the power of advanced analytics and get it in the hands of the right person to take the action. It never sees the light of day. All these opportunities don't see the light of day if you don't get it in the right hands. I think about it in 3 ways. One is we've done a study around how our field service technicians use their time. And at the end of the day, we're trying to have them be focused on their craft. That's really what they signed up to do, and that's how they want to apply their time. And so in the power generation example, it's how do you get more time on the turbine deck? We did a study, and even our customers said, hey, we've got you guys doing a project for us. There's an outage. You have this trailer that's like 2 football fields away, And they're spending about 50% of their time in that trailer. Like, what's going on in there? Why aren't they on the turbine deck? And so this is the power of, and this is really where ServiceMax fits into how we think about things, is giving people the capability to do it and focus on their craft in the moment and how they're doing their work. So we're trying to reduce the 50% of the time in the trailer to be more applied time on the turbine deck. The second is throughput. So I think there was a great example where, how do we send somebody with an intelligent work scope that says, this work order has been created, it's being facilitated through ServiceMax on how we get this in front of you, but there's intelligence behind it that says, here's the parts you should roll with, here's what you should expect to see when you get there, and here's how to use your time more effectively. The last is, I believe service technicians are going to become advisory roles, a much more focused role on how you consult with somebody to help them optimize the asset, optimize your overall operations. And these folks really know the context of how our customers work and can be put in a position to take their insight and knowledge and help customers drive more outcome.
Very cool. Okay, last question. It's a great financial model, delivering outcomes long-term. I mentioned, I think you guys have like a $200 billion backlog of service contracts. How about from a competitive differentiation perspective? How has it helped GE compete in the different markets that you're in?
Yeah, we see this convergence between physical and digital, and we see this disruption that's going to happen in all of our various industries, and we're trying to help navigate that. And we're walking the talk. I mean, yesterday we just announced a big change for our company. We speak about the fact that if you went to bed last night as an industrial company, you're going to wake up tomorrow as a software and analytics company. And so we've reorganized ourselves to create a business unit called GE Digital. And it's really meant to take IoT and the industrial internet and apply it to how we transform ourselves. But we're also using that as a way in which we work with our customers to transform their industries and themselves. And so for us, we see this as the future. And if people aren't thinking and focusing this way, there's plenty of case studies vis-a-vis Kodak and others that will play out in many of these other industries if we don't stay ahead of it.
Well, thanks. That's great.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks to be here.